Hello guys, welcome back to the GD1A Sports Podcast. We're winding down the season here. We've got 1 week left before the state tournament. So it's getting to be a pretty exciting time of year. A lot of teams are playing a little different than they have been. We saw some wins that we kind of didn't really expect.
Yep.
But that's the fun part about basketball, especially 1A. It's so competitive, and you just never know when teams are going to flip the script and show you something that you haven't seen all year. So to start this week's episode, we have two guests on with us right here from our hometown Tabiona. We have Joy Giles and Bella Giles. How are you girls?
Good. I'm pretty good.
Good. Coming off of a good win last night against Manila here at home. What we want to do here is just go over some of the questions that we've showed you and just kind of, maybe us get to know you a little better, and some of the people that tune in elsewhere that just kind of know your name, they can get to know you a little bit. And feel free to take however much time as you want on the questions. So what I'll do is I'll just read the question. One of you can answer, and then the other one can take your turn and answer, and we'll just kind of roll through them. That work?
Yep. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So we'll start with the main question that I think is, where did it all start? And, what age did you start playing?
I started playing in elementary, playing junior jazz, and also all of our Giants family, all of our cousins, would always go to the gym and just play basketball, and that's just where it all started, and that's where I started to love basketball.
Yeah, I feel the same with Joy. I started playing junior jazz, so I feel like I was in third grade when I started to love the sport, I guess. And just with our Giants family, we'd always go down to the gym and just play in a big group. And my dad would always talk about his experiences from him playing basketball in high school, and I just fell in love with it, I guess.
Now Bella, you moved for a while, right? And at what age was that when you guys moved?
I moved when I was in 5th grade, I would say, 4th grade, somewhere around there.
And Texas. You came back as a freshman?
Yes.
Okay. How did you like Texas?
I mean, it was alright. It wasn't as good as Tabby, I guess. It didn't feel like home.
Yeah. Did you play ball when you were down there?
I did, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right, cool. Well, it's a pretty common answer from everybody. You start in 2nd grade, most of us, 2nd, 3rd grade, which we have the kids here now doing it. So that's a pretty common answer with everybody we've talked to. So the next one we have is, for each of you, who has been your main inspiration for basketball to want to keep playing and love the sport?
My main inspiration has been my dad, because, in high school he was just really good at basketball, and I just looked up to him, and he got a championship, so that inspired me and motivated me to want to get a championship. And also my Aunt Savannah will always show us her highlights from high school and their state championship video, and it just makes me want to get a championship. So those two have been my main inspirations.
I would have to say my dad, because he always supports me and everything, and always pushes me to be the best. After every game, he always sits me and Elizabeth down to show what we could have done, or what we did good, and just talk about it. And I would also have to say my Aunt Savannah, because she always, at 5 in the morning, we always go play basketball. She helps us work on our shots and stuff like that. And those two are my big inspiration.
Cool. And I grew up watching both of your dads play, and both were very good ball players. I remember Logan being one of the craftiest ball handlers. Quick, just get to the basket, shoot if he was open. And Levi, he was the kind of person that as soon as he crossed half court, if the defense wasn't on him, you never knew. He'd pull up and shoot it from anywhere. So I really enjoyed watching those two. And Dally, I'm sure you're the same. You remember watching them growing
You know,
up. You're a little younger,
I was quite a bit younger. Don't really remember watching them play, but you know, you talk to anybody that's a little older than me, and that's kind of how it is. It was talking about how Levi was just, you know, probably one of the best to come through the school. So
and being in the record books, I mean, yeah, it's and Joy, you got in the Tabiona record books as the most threes in a game for the girls, so that's pretty cool too. But yeah, it's cool to know that is your inspiration, and it doesn't surprise me because, like I said, watching them when I was a kid, it makes perfect sense. And I watched Savannah too. You know, she's younger than me, but still, you know, watched her play and watched the championship stuff like that. So, so the next one we have, I think this is a big question too because basketball was a lot of, you gotta have a lot of mental toughness for basketball. And so, how do you handle a tough loss? Like, for example, one team that's got you guys twice, big games, good games. How do you handle tough losses like that?
I mean, after losing against Rich last year in the championship, that was like, it hurt me so bad. I was like so sad. And after losing, it just motivated me to go to the gym more and try to get better. So, I mean, just go to the gym and yeah.
Yeah, after losing to Rich in the state championship game and these two games that we've played, it almost wanted me to like get better each time. So like after that, I would just go back and watch the games to see what I could work on and what I could do better for the team and minimize the mistakes I've done. And yeah.
Nice, I like it. Let's see, we'll skip this one, but don't let me come back. Don't let me forget the memories. But since we do that at the end, we'll come back to it. So I should have moved it down the list. But anyway, so going into each game, what do you try to do for yourself, and how do you, like, what's the mindset that you try to get into going into each and every game?
I mean, it honestly just depends on what our coach's plan is, like for the game, like what plays we're gonna run, what defense we're gonna run, who we're gonna guard. That like just helps me like lock in, I guess. And like I try to lock in and like remember my role before the game to just try to do whatever I can to help my team out.
I would have to agree with Joy. Like, it depends on what our coaches do. They always bring us in the locker room and they'll go over the game plan of like who's guarding the best the best offensive player on the opposite team, and like what defense and the first play we're gonna go out. And then I just try to like remind myself to like play hard and trust my teammates and whatever they're gonna do and stuff like that.
Well, and Bella, for you often find yourself guarding the other team's best player because you're a great defender, you're fast, you move your feet well. Do you ever have to kind of mentally prepare yourself for that, or does that just come natural to you that you go in there and you just kind of, because most of the time you don't really get a whole lot of, you know, cheap reach-in fouls. I mean, you get some here and there, but everybody does, but you're so good at moving your feet and just keeping them in front of you. Does that just come natural, or do you have to kind of talk to yourself before the game, remind yourself, okay, no reaching or anything like that?
It comes both ways. Sometimes I like reach too much in practice when we're working on it, so I always have to tell myself before games not to reach as much. But like it also comes naturally just to like move my feet and not like reach. And I only will reach when I know it's the right time to try to steal the ball. But I guess it comes both ways.
And it kind of depends too, because some of the girls that you guard are much better ball handlers than some of the others. So I would imagine there has to be a little bit of an adjustment going towards that, because some of them it's going to be a lot harder to steal the ball from, even when you know it's the right time to maybe reach in and poke it out. But so I would imagine there's got to be a little different preparation depending on how well they can handle the ball. Is that right?
Yeah, probably like Molly Weston. Like every time I would try to steal the ball, she would do something else to get around me. So then when I would come back in, I would just have to make sure not to do that same mistake over and over. And when I did, she didn't really get around me. But it's definitely like having to prepare in a different way for most players.
Well, and Molly Weston's tough anyway because she handles the ball and she can shoot. So she's just a tough player to guard anyway. So
And then Joy, you're kind of on the opposite end. Me and Wacey's both discussed. I feel like you're kind of the how am I going to put this? The focus for everyone else, in my opinion, because you can shoot the ball really well. Do you ever have the mindset of like, I know they're going to guard me tough on the three. Do you want to, try and get around the girls, go to the rim? Like, do you ever have a mindset like that you need to maybe try something, but if your three game isn't working? Because even me and Wacey thought, against Rich, you have struggled shooting the ball a little bit, but then you come to Tinnick and you break the record. So I'm just curious how your mindset is, knowing that you are kind of the focus for the other team.
I mean, it can be hard, like, knowing that, like, I'm gonna, like, not be able to get as many threes off a game like I did last year, because now teams, like, know that I'm, like, a good shooter, I guess. And so now I've, like, kind of learned to, like, pump fake and drive, so that has just kind of helped my game out more, and yeah. Like,
Well, and do you
yesterday
find
against
that?
Manila. Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
Um, Yesterday against Manila, when Cassidy Wall was guarding me, she like would always like jump at my like jump when I went to like shoot a three, but I would just go around her, and it just helps open up my game so much more.
Well, and that's what I was going to say. Don't you feel like that when you are able to get around them a few times and show them that you also can drive, that it helps open your three up even more, because now they have to give you a step or you're going to go right around them. So you have good qualities there to where you can also be a very hard player to defend, whether they don't know whether you're going to drive or shoot. And it's a lot of fun to watch, to be honest with you.
Thanks.
But yeah, I mean, you're the top scorer with 10.3 points a game, and Bella, you're right behind with 9. So, but yeah, I even though everyone on the team we know are threats, and we've said that all year, but I do feel like teams are looking at you saying, if we can stop her from shooting the ball well, we're definitely going to be better off. So I was just curious how your, mental preparation comes into games, because even though the stats might show everyone's all around, I feel like the focus is definitely on you. So
Yeah, you're in the spotlight, Joyce, so way to go. All right, we'll go to the next one. What's one part of your game that you feel like you need to be better at, you need to improve on, is going, so coming into the state tournament time?
I would say like one thing I could be better at is like going for the offensive rebound, because I mean I'm pretty tall and like lengthy, so I feel like I could be better at getting offensive rebounds to help my team out, because sometimes like my offense may not always like be the best, like my shooting might be off some games, but I can always control if I can get an offensive rebound.
I would say try to finish my layups because I've missed quite a few layups. I'm not the very best at making layups, but coming to this day, I feel like I should just try my best to try and make my layups like the easy shots that matter and stuff like that.
If you don't mind, I could add something to that, because I've noticed a lot on some of your layups, because you're really good at getting to the basket. You're quick, you can spin off the defender. A lot of layups that I notice that you shoot, you're short arming it. You're kind of like halfway throwing it up. You get what I'm saying? Your arm's not fully extending up to the rim. I see that a lot, and it's not just you. There's a few girls on the team. Macy struggled with that a little bit, just the short arm. So if I could offer you a little bit of advice, fully extend that arm, and I'll bet you'll see a much better result. But gosh dang, there was something else. Oh, Joy, you talked about rebounding. I love that answer. I've talked to a few of the girls, kind of in private, and that's what we've talked about is rebounding. I feel like if you girls can figure out a way to get a few more offensive rebounds, you're gonna like the outcome of what can happen from that, because rebounds and free throws often control a game. They're decided. Most of the time, the winning team gets the most rebounds, and you guys all know how important free throws are, which, speaking, both pretty good free throw shooters. So, you kind of got that part figured out, but free throws at state are different than free throws in the regular season, as you both know. So, but I like your answer about the rebounds. That's definitely something that I think you girls could improve on, and it could improve your game as a whole. Sorry,
yeah,
I said that as improve
sorry.
on, making it sound like you're not doing very good, and I did not mean that. That's something that could carry you higher, I guess, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, against Rich, like we got up 7 points in like I think it was the first quarter, and I think that's what changed our game is rebounding. We were rebounding really good against Rich at the first, and we just like laid off rebounding, and that's what made our game kind of
Slow down.
yeah.
And especially against a team like Rich, who they are known for rebounding. You know, they always have been, boys and girls. So yeah, but I think it sounds like you've got the right mindset on it, the right idea, and I think you're going to be just fine. So, okay, so the next one we have here, for each of you, who is your favorite basketball player? I mean, it could be anybody that's on the pro level, maybe someone that played college that didn't go to pro, maybe it's your family. Just who's your favorite player?
I've always loved watching Caitlin Clark because I mean she's literally changed women's basketball, and she just inspired me to be a good shooter, and it's just fun watching her.
I would definitely have to say Steph Curry because I don't know, he's just such a good player overall. He can handle the ball and he can shoot the ball like crazy, and it's always fun to watch him play against people, I guess.
Well, I'll tell you, like I told one of those Green River boys last week, you and Boston could be great friends because that kid is obsessed with Steph Curry. It's almost too much for me to handle. And didn't someone else tell us Caitlin Clark?
I think that was AJ.
Was it AJ that said Caitlin? Because I've heard her name before, and I love watching Caitlin Clark. She is something else. All right. Is there someone in specific that you watched growing up to learn from? Like maybe you paid more attention to them than anyone else just to see how they do things and kind of watch their routines?
I wouldn't say anyone in specific that I really watched, but I mean, growing up, I always just like watched the older kids in high school, and I would always go into like my dad and like when my grandpa and my dad would coach, I would always go and practice with them, and I remember like Wyatt Fabrizio, Dakota Young, Hayes Giles, like all that team, and I just remember like after watching them win the championship, it just made me want to get a championship in high school, or yeah.
I don't have really anybody in specific either. I would just say when I was younger, watching all the older kids playing high school basketball and just watching them how they played their game just made me really want to like go and play basketball more and like wanting to play high school.
Which I think that's a common answer because I could say the same thing for myself when I was younger. I loved watching the older kids. You know, like I mentioned, Joy, your dad, Brandon Casper was one of my favorites to watch. He was a really good shooter. And I try to tell our junior high girls if I can catch him before any of your girls' games, I'm like, sit down, watch the game, pay attention to these girls, and learn something because that is a great way to learn. You know, you don't have to watch the pros or anything like that. You just watch the girls you grow up around or the boys you grow up around. You know, and I think that helps a lot. So in practice, is there a player on the team that kind of pushes you to be better? You know, whether it's encouragement or maybe trying to get in your head a little bit or being a little physical, just anybody that tries to push you to be better every day. And I promise we won't tell them.
I mean, if anyone knows Elizabeth, you know that she's very competitive and that she will push you in practice. But I mean, our whole team honestly pushes us every day, and sometimes our practice, like scrimmages, are better than some of the games we play. So, yeah.
That's cool.
I would definitely have to say Joy and Elizabeth because they know all my moves that I do and what I can do when I try to get to the rim or like shoot like the three. They like know and they always push me to be better, I guess. And Elizabeth always tries to get in my head because she always ends up guarding me because she always puts up the system. And she'll either guard me and she'll always like be like shoot it, or drive. And every time I do try to drive and try to do my spin, she shuts it off because she knows that's what I like to do. she just tries to get in my head after that. But our team, I would also say our team also tries to push us, like, to be better and stuff.
Yeah, that's one of the joys of being able to play with your sister, because not only do you deal with it at practice, but I'm sure there's some conversations that happen at home too.
Oh, yeah.
So I think that's supposed to say outside of basketball. That's worded wrong. What hobbies do you enjoy outside of basketball? You know, maybe to get your mind off the game for a minute if you feel like you just kind of need a reset or something. Is there something like, what other hobbies you girls have besides basketball?
I just like hanging out with my family, hanging out with friends. I like to go hunting. I like to ride horses, and I like to work out. But yeah.
I like to spend time with my friends and family and like listening to music and just like relax. And I also like to go hunting and just like hang out with my grandma and help her with things around the house.
This one's kind of the same thing, so we can probably just skip it. It's basically what keeps you entertained in good old Tabiona, but that's kind of the same, same as your outside hobbies. So we'll just go to the next one then. What team is your biggest rival? Someone that you never want to lose to, no matter what.
The teams I never want to lose to is Duchesne and Rich. I don't know, they've always been like good, solid teams from both those places. I don't like losing to them. It just sucks. I mean, in my high school career, I haven't beat them yet, but we'll get them eventually.
And that was
I would
Duchesne Rich.
also-
I think it kind of cut out there, but
Sorry, Duchesne and Rich.
Gotcha.
I would also have to say Rich.
press okay.
Girls, can you still hear us? Did it say that you stopped recording on your end too? I show that we're still recording.
The internet's been so screwed up this last week, and I don't know why.
Uh-oh, we may have just lost them.
Well, maybe while they
Oh, I heard something.
come back.
Their mic's working.
Like I said, the internet this week has been crazy because even when I was trying to watch the Wayne Panguage boys game, I don't know what happened, but I watched about the first quarter and then it just quit and I could not reload anything. And
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what's been going on with the internet lately.
We've had to reset ours a lot this last week. Hopefully they can get back in and we can kind of finish this up. Because now I don't hear their mic. Oh, they're gone. Well, oh, they're back.
Like I said, we don't edit nothing, so
Nope.
if you guys are listening, I hope that they can come back and we can continue this.
Looks
But
like-
yeah, just
You guys hear
going.
us?
I'll just kind of go over their stats.
Well, there they
here.
are. They're back.
Oh, cool, perfect.
Sorry, I don't know what happened.
Hey, I mean, if you guys want to be done, just say. You don't have to cut out on us. That's all right. We can throw in some closing remarks and move on. I mean, geez. I guess there really was just one last question that we had, and I know you're both only juniors, but it's something that you kind of start thinking about ahead of time. I mean, have you thought about after high school if you want to try to maybe get in and play at any colleges, or any thoughts on that?
I haven't really thought about college basketball. I think it would be fun, but I mean, it just depends, like if I get scholarships or whatever from colleges or apply to any colleges. But after high school, I probably just want to go to college and maybe serve a mission for.
I would after high school, I either want to go serve a mission or go to college to get a degree in the medical field. And then I have thought about playing for college basketball. If I ever got the opportunity, I would definitely accept it. But if not, then definitely go get a degree for the medical field.
Well, you girls, well, all the kids nowadays have a pretty pretty awesome tool to help with that with social media. I mean, we see Van Dyke, she started kind of her little deal. Again, she's only a junior, but just posting on the socials, kind of showing some highlights and some stuff here and there. So I think that's something that, when we were in school, or me, I guess, we didn't have that. So you just kind of had to hope that somebody had come to watch you, or maybe someone called and was like, hey, you need to watch this person. And Joy, your dad, I know he played at Westminster College for a few years. I can't remember how long, but yeah, that's like I said, I know you're only juniors, you got some time, but you never know. Sometimes people are thinking about it, and we were just kind of curious on that. So
I have one question. So your grandpa, we already know he's been in the game longer than, well, he started coaching in 1981. He hit his 600th win, so he's been in the game a long time. What, if there's one thing that he has to say to both of you, how does he come to you girls, and what does he say to maybe help you girls improve your game?
I mean,
I know Coach, he's not just gonna, I'm sure when he goes to you girls, he's saying something.
I mean, my grandpa doesn't talk like too much to us when we go to the house. It's mainly my grandma. But when he does talk to us, if we ever are like complaining about basketball or something, he'll just be like, he's like, then go to the gym, or and stuff like that, and get over it.
Get over it.
Pretty much like no excuses, but yeah.
Yeah, I would have to agree with Joy. He really doesn't talk to us when we go up to the house. He just sits there and watches game film. But when he does after the games, he always, like Joy said, like if we complain about the game or like something wasn't fair, he just like get over it, go to the gym, work on it, I guess. And like for me, I always complain about missing layups. Like I don't know why I miss them. He's like, just make it. It's easy. Like it's not that hard.
But my grandpa's also like, he's very supportive, and he always is. If we ever go over to the gym, he's always there trying to help us become better. But yeah.
Well, maybe when he's sitting there watching game film, you two should maybe turn it off and corner him and pick his brain a little bit, because there is a lot of basketball knowledge inside of that brain.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, I just kind of thought maybe we could follow up with, I mean, you girls will play here next Saturday. I don't think we quite know yet, but it's looking like maybe there were 2 or 3 teams in the mix. I know Whitehorse was one that's possible.
Yeah.
I can't remember the other ones, but, just kind of give us your thoughts on the last, well, I guess it'd be the first game of the state tournament, and then going into the state tournament. I mean, just kind of thoughts, expectations, what you're kind of looking forward to, anything like that.
I'm just excited to play at state, and I think it'll be a little bit different this year, like not being in Richfield and like having a play-in game and everything. But I'm excited, and I think that we can win this year, because I don't want second anymore.
Yeah, we got a lot of second place trophies, that's for sure. But the good thing about it, no matter what happened this season, once you get to, well, I guess next week's included, but all records go back to 0-0, right? So there's only one way to go from there, and that's straight up. So
Yeah.
well, we're excited. You got anything for him?
Nope, just a memory.
Yeah, we'll get back to the memories. Would each one of you give us one of your favorite memories to this point of basketball? And it could be one of your own, one of maybe a teammate or anything like that, just something we can use for our memories on the hardwood segment.
One of my favorite memories in basketball was breaking the 3-point record in Tinnick, and that was just really fun and exciting for me.
One of my favorite memories is when we went down and played St. Joe. I had 23 points and 5 threes. And it was really exciting for me because that was my new career high, I guess.
Bella, I got to ask you, because I remember this game in particular last year at the region tournament when you and Talia just straight up took over the entire game. I mean, that's got to be right up there somewhere too, because for me, that was one of the funnest games I've watched in a long time. You two did. You just completely took over. They had no answer for you, and it was such a fun game to watch. And Joy, I wish I could have watched the Tinnick one, because well, you guys wouldn't know, I'm a lot older than you, but when I played, that's kind of was my role too. I was a shooter, that's what I did, and the best I ever did, I think, was 5. I don't know if I ever got 6 in a game, maybe once, but I wish I could have watched somebody hit 8. Dowley's brother, Kyle, I think I was, what was he, a junior? So I would have been a freshman, watched him make 10 in Uinta River and that kind of stuff. It's just freaking awesome. But with that said, I want to thank you girls for taking the time to talk with us for a little bit, and I'm super excited to watch you girls down at State. We're going to be down there. We're going to do our show after each night, kind of recap the games, so maybe we'll come and sit by you while we're watching some other teams and pick your brain a little bit and get some of your thoughts on what you've watched up to the certain points of each day, and I know Dowley agrees. We wish you the best of luck, and we would love nothing more than to watch you girls bring that trophy home this year.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys.
Thank you.
You make it to the championship, I'll be painted up head to toe, I promise.
I'm too old for that, so I'll just sit by Dowley where he's all painted up.
No, I'm expecting it from you too, Wacey.
Yeah.
I did my hair purple one year, and I've never heard the end of it. All right, girls. Well, thank you very much, and I guess if not before then, we'll see you next Saturday at your game.
Okay, thank you guys.
Thank you.
See ya.
See ya. Okay. Well, we got that done. That was fun.
Yeah, we've been wanting to interview them girls because, like I said, they've been number 1 pretty much all season till this last little bit, but we was trying to get that studio built, but obviously it ain't going to happen.
It's going to happen, just maybe not in time to do it.
Yes, but I'm glad we got to talk to Joy and Belle, and I'd love to talk to even more of the team because, like I said, all them girls are just pretty much playing all the same, but obviously we can't have 10 of them in one screen. So
well, and the thing about it, we can keep doing podcasts after the season, so we could talk to other players, even players from these other schools that we didn't get a chance to talk to. If they wanted to come on, we could still do an episode and talk with them. So
but yeah, we love our Tabiona girls. They're awesome, and like I said, we are definitely going to be cheering them on all the way to the end. So, and
the boys, don't forget about the boys.
Yeah, definitely the boys.
They're going to have a tough game next Friday, which I'm sure we'll talk about a little bit. But it looks like they're going to go to Valley.
From what it's looking like, I believe they're going to be going to Valley, playing them for the playing game, which I think is going to be a dang good one.
I think so, because we've talked about Valley quite a bit, and they've got a pretty solid team. They'll be playing at home, so it'll be a good game. Well, with that being said, we can roll into the regular order of things.
Yeah, we got a lot of stuff to talk about.
So what do you want to start with, boys or girls?
Right now, I just brought up the Des News rankings because we've been following them. Looking at the girls' side, Des News has the Tigers. They think they're number 1 still, so they're sitting at number 1 at 20-2. The Wayne Badgers are number 2 at 17-3. The Rich Rebels, they have a number 3 at 18-5. Panguitch Bobcats at 17-5 at number 4, and the Valley Buffaloes at 12-8 on the 5th spot. On the boys' end, they got the Rich Rebels sitting at number 1 with a 19-4 record. The Manila Mustangs at number 2 with a 19-4 record. The Valley Buffaloes at number 3 with an 11-10 record. The Panguitch Bobcats at number 4 at 15-10, and the Wayne Badgers at number 5 at 18-6. Des News, like I said, they seem to have a lot of things fluctuate. Do I 100% agree with this stuff? No, because I do think there should be some other things adjusted in that. But I think next week we're going to put our own Power 5 together and kind of go from there.
Well, and I think one thing we can agree on, at least in the top 10, and there's going to be some lower seeded teams that are going to make some noise, but it's going to be, I feel like, a pretty solid tournament.
It's going to be
there's a lot of good teams in both the boys and the girls, and it's going to be the state tournament's always a good time.
Just watching the Region 20 tournament, I mean, it was some good watching. So I've got the boys kind of lined up first here, so I think we'll roll with the boys
that's
end.
the screen I'm already on.
So the first game I want to look at here, it was the start of the Region 20 tournament. Wayne, beat Escalante pretty good, 63-28.
That would have been Thursday, correct?
I didn't put the date.
That's Wayne and Paiute.
But anyways, our
Alright.
Paiute, I don't know how to say his name. I hope it's
Yeah.
right. But anyways, he had an awesome game with 21 points. Martinez, he had 13. Peterson, it was a slower night for him, but he definitely had some good games going into the rest of the tournament. He had 11. Hallows with 6. Robbins with 2. And like I said, the rest of the team just seemed to put up 2 points. And then on Escalante's team, caught him. He played really well, 17 points for him. Griffin had 6, and Frischnet had 3, Griffin with 2. So
Cotham's been playing pretty good the last few games.
yeah, he definitely has,
and
and that's why I wanted to look at these games, even though they were a blowout. Like we said, we're trying to cover everyone. We don't want to just focus on the top 5. So even though like this podcast might stretch out a little longer, I hope everyone sticks with it.
Do you still have the rankings open by chance right there?
I don't.
I was just curious where Escalante was sitting in the. I can find it if you want to. I'm just curious to know where they're at looking ahead to the state tournament.
Then the next game I have here pulled up was Bryce Valley and Panguitch. And Bryce Valley definitely give Panguitch a game, but the Bobcats ended up winning that one 49-46. I didn't have stats for Bryce Valley. I don't know if they were on max preps. I couldn't find, but on Panguitch's side, Verga, like we said, we know he's just definitely the powerhouse for the Bobcats. He had 19 points with 15 rebounds in that game. Ramsey had 10, Barney had 10, Inglestead with 5, Bailey with 3, and Bentley with 2. But yeah, just a heck of a game for Verga in that game.
And Bryce Valley's not on here either, which kind of sucks because I mean, like you said, being a good game, a 3-point game, I'd like to see what they did on their end, but it's not on max.
Yeah, because that was a game I didn't watch. So the next game I have pulled up here is Paiute and Water Canyon. Paiute, like I said, they've been one team that's they're just rolling and they're clicking so well, but they beat Water Canyon 81-53. And the thing I liked with this one is Montague had 21, Glebe was 17, Eliason with 14, Myers 9, Marr 9, G. Eliason with 5, Nevers 2, Morgan 2. But every one of those Paiute players just was going at the rim and shooting the 3-ball really well. On the Water Canyon side, that Blackmore, he's kind of been the top guy for Water Canyon. He had 16 points in that game. Barlow, also a top player for him, had 14. Simpson had 7. LeBaron with 5. Hammond with 5. And Andrade with 4. But yeah, even though that game was also a little bit of a blowout, I just wanted to put in there, Water Canyon, they still got some good ball players, but when you're going into a Paiute squad, when they have a coach that just, like I said, knows how to put game plans together, and you can just see that their boys just respect him so well.
And Water Canyon, they're in the 15 spot, so they're going to have a chance to go to Salt Lake. You know, they're going to be playing Wayne. But they are, and then I just, real quick, I did find Escalante in that 16 spot too, so they're right there to where they at least get a game to try to get there.
Yeah, and then the next game I had pulled up here was Valley beat Milford 51-32. I didn't have any stats on Valley, but I wanted to just, talk about Sullivan again. He come in, puts up 19 points in that game, and like I said, he's kind of been just the motor for Milford. Occasionally Barnes and stuff will come in and have some good games, but, Sullivan, he's just been playing his butt off all year. And I hope he really understands that he is a good ball player. But yeah, he had 19 in that game. Barnes had 5, Merriweather with 3, Spalding 2, Saavedra 2, and Kessler had 1. But I don't have any stats on the Buffaloes.
Yeah, there's nothing for Valley on max prep either.
And then the next game, Bryce Valley ended up beating Milford 71-43. Garrett, we already know he's a heck of a ball player. 22 points for him with 3 3-pointers. Gray had 13 points with 2 3-pointers. Jace Syra had 7 points with 1 3-pointer, and then Perez had 6, Lopez was 6, Clark was 6, Shinoth was 6, Beasley with 2, and Moreno with 1. And then, like I said, Sullivan again just really played well for the Tigers with 16 points and 2 3-pointers. Merriweather came in with 7 with the 3. Saavedra had 6, Kessler with 6, Barnes with 4, and Spalding with 2. So, like I said, even though the Tigers, they have definitely struggled this season, I feel like they're a team, if they just keep, put that 0-0 record together like we were talking about, you just never know with them.
Well, and they're a fairly young team, too. Looking right here, of the ones that are on the stat sheet here, there's only the 2 seniors in Sullivan and Merriweather. They do have a bunch of sophomores, but, yeah, I mean, I agree with what you said, just if they can kind of hit that reset and, move on into the tournament and see what happens.
The next game I have pulled up here is Panguitch and Valley. Panguitch, they had some tough games. They only ended up beating Valley by 3, but like we said, we know that all them games, it's just kind of whoever really shows up and wants to win.
Especially in that tournament.
Oh, yeah, but, one thing about Valley, when House is playing good, man, they are tough. Because he had 30 points in that game with 3 3-pointers. So he was just an animal. And he's proved that he's definitely the leader of the Valley Buffalo squad. Which, I'm sure, like I said, we're assuming the Tigers are probably going to go down and play him. But I guarantee you Coach Giles has got a game plan to try and shut down House, because he's definitely the machine of the Valley Buffaloes. But yeah, he had 30 points in that game. H. Harris had 8 points. P. Harris had 3. Chamberlain with 3, and Baird with 2. And that's where I think, even though House had 30, I really think for the Buffaloes to really make a really huge run at the tournament, these other kids on his teams, they've really got to put up some numbers, because
step up a little bit.
Because even though House is a great player, you know how it is.
Mm-hmm.
If he has one bad game, it's probably going to be tough. So, but yeah, and then looking at the Panguitch side, I mean, there was really no dominant player in that game. Ramsey, he had the most with 9. He had 4 rebounds. Verga had 8 with 10 rebounds. Anderson had 8. Ingolstadt had 7 with 7 rebounds. Ramsey had 6 with 4 rebounds. Barney was 6 and 2 rebounds, and Bentley had 5 with a rebound. So, yeah. So I mean, usually, like I said, we usually see Verga up there in that 15, 16 or more range. But it looked like the Buffaloes definitely had a game plan for him. So.
Well, and see if you kind of turn that around, like you were saying, where a couple of the kids from Valley, if they can step up and take some of that pressure off, that's exactly what Panguitch did. Verga didn't need to score 15, 20 points a game, because they had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 kids score.
Yeah.
And that helps a bunch.
And then coming into the next game is the Valley Paiute game. And Paiute, like I said, they've been playing awesome. They got them 48-32. I don't think there was any stats on that game, because I was looking. I couldn't find nothing on that.
Yeah, there's nothing on here either.
So, yeah, but Paiute got them a win over Valley. The next game I have pulled up here is Monticello got him a good win over Pinnacle, 46-43 in that game. And, Monticello, C. Young, he had 13 points with 2 3-pointers. K. Young had 11 points in that game. Mack had 9. Keys had 7. Felix with 4. And Nielsen had 2. Shumway had 10. This is on Pinnacle's side. Howell had 8. B. Howell had 8. Contreras had 8. And Everez was 6. And Hayes with 3. So, a good win for Monticello. Like I said, we know they've kind of struggled this season as well. So that was definitely a good win on their end. The next game I have pulled up here, which this was kind of one that really surprised me, is Altamont and Tinnick. So Altamont beat Tinnick 70-65, which was a really high scoring game.
64.
Yeah. Oh, Des News has it 70-65.
Oh, it does?
Yeah.
Oh,
either way,
yeah,
typo
either way.
somewhere. But anyways, it was looking at this. Jameson, he had an awesome game with 28 points and 6 3-pointers in that game. So he had a heck of a game. B. Jones had 12 points, Condor with 11 with 2 3-pointers, Brown had 7, Hanson with 3, and Shavaria had 3. But on Altamont's side, and we've talked about Tew a little bit. He's definitely a good ball player for the Longhorns. In the next couple years, he's going to probably be a tough player to stop.
Is he a freshman or a
I believe he's
sophomore?
a sophomore. But he had 27 in that game with 5 3-pointers. So he really was matching up with Jameson within the points category. Jessen had 13 points with 1 3. Sorensen had 12, Wall with 9, and Whiting with 8. But yeah, to see a sophomore put up 27, and Altamont, they have been struggling this year too as well, but they scored a lot of points in that game from what we're used to seeing them put up. So.
Well, and I think one thing that's really good for Altamont is they went to Tinnick and got that win.
Yeah.
Tinnick's a tough place to win. Our boys played there a week ago, barely snuck away with a 2-point win. Tinnick's a good team at home, so that's a big win for Altamont in my opinion to be able to go there and get that.
Oh yeah, huge win.
And they're the number 11 and number 12 teams right now.
And
so.
I feel like Altamont can be one of them sleeper teams. Like, I feel like at the state tournament, if you don't take them serious, you could get beat.
Mm-hmm.
So I hope everyone realizes that Altamont has a team. It just, if them boys are clicking, they can be tough. So, but yeah, a good win for Altamont. The next game I have pulled up, which this was one that, it looked like a barn burner. Was Rich in Manila. So Rich went to a Manila, ended up beating him 51-49, and it came down to the wire. Bradley, thank you for sending us that video of the incredible, Scott hit that 3 at the end, but you want to talk about a good play written up by a coach to... I don't know. Was it Holmes that passed it out of bounds?
It was hard to tell in the video, but it looked like Holmes that threw it in, and it looked like
Nilsson caught it.
Oh, Nilsson did?
I think it was Nilsson.
I was thinking it was Fonsbeck, but I couldn't tell.
No, it was. I think it was Fonsbeck. I guess I should have paid more attention. But anyways, to draw that play up and literally run it to perfection, it was amazing.
Whoever it was, whether it was Fonsbeck or whoever, to jump up and catch it and be able to, kind of turn in the air, give it to your guy where he needs to have it. I thought that was pretty heads-up, smart play by him to be able to get it to Scott to where Scott could actually get the shot off. But I was told last night, did you hear about the scenarios before that final shot?
I did not. No.
So, and if I get this wrong, guys, I apologize, but it's right here somewhere. If I remember correctly, I think it was Lundgren that hit a 3. And put them up 1 or 2. Well, it would have been, let's see, Manila was up 2, right?
Yes.
So it would have put them up 1.
Well.
And then, either way, it gave Rich the lead. Then they come back, and I think they told me it was Hughes for Manila hit a 3 with the 2.6 left, which is what put them on top. And then the half-court pass over to Scott to bank it into the buzzer for the win. So right there towards the end, there was 3 threes. That lead changed with each one.
Huge clutch moments.
Yeah, it was, like. And I wish I could have seen, the threes. I think it was Lundgren and Hughes just to watch the app because I'm sure that gym was going nuts.
That Manila gym, I'm sure, was just crazy. But for that last play, I just want to say I think that the little bit of their football experience came into that because Holmes looked like he was throwing a football pass. It was perfect.
If like I said, if it was Fonsbeck, whoever jumped up like
a receiver and get it to to Carter, which like I said we call him the sniper, and he definitely just give the Rich just an unbelievable win. And like I said, if you haven't seen the video, I believe it. If you look on Instagram or Facebook with some of them players, Facebook, I believe they put it on there, and it's an awesome video. So if you haven't seen it, go watch it because it's awesome.
It's pretty cool. Yeah.
But yeah, a game that looked like it could go either way. Rich just, like I said.
Well, and do you have the stats?
Yeah.
Because I was going to say, I'm looking at him here, and there's a leader on Rich that you don't normally see there at the top. That's big game.
I was just about to get to it. Holmes, 18 points with 4 3-pointers. Lundgren had 15 with a 3. O'Mealy had 6. Grohl had 4. Corney with 3 and 1, and he had a 3-pointer. And then Nilsson had 2. And then on Manila's side, Goodman he had 16. Bear had 15 with 3 3-pointers. Chowning had 8 points with 2 3-pointers. Bambro had 7 with a 3, and Hughes had a 3-pointer. So, but yeah, it was different on kind of both ends. We're used to watching Chowning, and he's a heck of a ball player. I can tell you that right now. When we talk about the Tabby game, he's definitely going to get talked about here in a sec. But yeah, a tough loss for Manila, but I hope that gives them the confidence that they can play with anyone at the state tournament. So I can't wait to watch Manila because, like we've said, they're coached so well. Coach Hughes, he's phenomenal, and you can just tell, his chemistry with his boys it's right there, and they're going to be tough. So.
Well, and on the Rich side, we talked to Coach Holmes up here after they played our boys up here, and he was saying how Jet has been shooting the ball better as of late because up here against us he hit 3 threes. And I don't know what he's had in between the games from then to now, but to come in here and hit 4, and it kind of goes back to what we were saying about the Penguin Valley. For Jet to step up and get 18 points, that takes some pressure off of Ridge that he doesn't have to go out there and try to get 30 to win the game.
Yeah.
So that's a big game for Jet, a big boost for the Rebels to get that win.
And I believe that makes them the region champions. I'm pretty sure.
Would think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would think so. That sucks they don't have that region tournament yet. We brought it back for 1 year, and then they got rid of them.
Yeah. But, yeah. The next game I have pulled up here was for the Region 20 Championship on the boys' end. It was Panguitch and Wayne. Panguitch ended up getting that win, 66-58. And I watched about the first quarter of that, and then, like I said, the internet went stupid, and I could never pull it up, so I don't really know what happened in the late, so all I have is kind of stats to go off of. But Robbins, considering, Virga, I mean, it was that way when they played last time. It was Robbins and Virga, just the battle of the bigs going at it. But Robbins had 21 points with 13 rebounds. Peterson had 14 points with a 3, and he had 8 rebounds.
He also had 8 assists and 5 steals.
Yeah, he had a heck of a good game. Martinez had 9 points with a 3 and 7 rebounds. Payu, I wish I knew how to say his last name.
We'll have to find that out.
6 points with 1 rebound. Brown had 6 with 2 3-pointers and a rebound, and Jackson had 2. And then on the Panguitch side, Virga had 21. I don't have their rebounds.
So he had 8 rebounds and 5 blocks to go with his points.
And then Ingolstadt had 15 points with 3 threes.
With 12 rebounds.
Sertonia had 12 points with 3 threes.
I don't see him.
Barney had 12 points. Bentley had a 3, and Ramsey had 2, and Anderson had 1. So, yeah, it was definitely a battle of the big. But like I said, when you look at Panguitch, it's not just one guy. It's, them 4 or 5 players are as good as scorers as even, getting the ball in Virga's hands.
Mm-hmm.
So, like I said, I thought it looked like, we knew it was going to be a great championship game.
Oh, yeah.
But you got to hand it to Panguitch, even though their record might not look the best, but, Coach Barney, like we've said, he's fine-tuning them boys, and he's definitely got them ready to go to the state tournament.
And they always, regardless of regular season, they always show up and perform at a high level at the tournament.
Yeah.
Every year. It's always been that way.
So, yeah, congratulations to the Bobcats on winning their region tournament. The next game I have pulled up here is the Taviona-Manila game. Taviona showed up and they played hard and they ended up getting that win 53-46. Rhodes came out just playing awesome like he kind of was at the first of the year. 26 points for him. Thomas had 13 in that one. Olsen had 7 with a 3. Giles had 5 and Curry had 2. But like I said, the Tabby boys, I feel like when they just really get together and work their butts off, they can play with anyone as well. And I hope they understand too. They beat Manila that took a tough loss against Rich, but it shows you, if you follow the game plans, you work your butt off, like we said, the record's 0-0. Just go into the game, work hard, and you honestly will probably be surprised with the outcome from what paper would probably tell you. So.
Well, and like we've said all year, they have enough talent to achieve greatness, but it just takes that little bit extra. Talent only gets you so far, and it's, what's that saying, hard work beats talent.
Mm-hmm.
There's something else that goes with that, but I can't remember. But yeah, it's true. They have the talent. They just got to figure out, like I say when we call the games a lot, gut check. You got to do a gut check and find out exactly how bad you actually do want to win, or at least give yourself a chance to win.
Yeah, definitely. On the Manila's side, Goodman, he had 17. Hughes had 9 with 3 3-pointers. Bear had 9. Chowning had 8, and Bambro had 3. But like I said, Chowning, you want to talk about one fast guard that can just get a move. Like I said, they were face guarding him the whole time. You got to hand it to the Tigers that was guarding him, because he is a hard player to keep up with.
Mm-hmm.
He's fast. He's just so quick with the ball. Once he gets a screen, set for him, he's a good decision maker. And his 3-point shot, the Tigers are kind of lucky that he didn't hit a couple of them that he had.
Well, he hit 2 big ones there in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
Right towards the end that kind of, brought him, to within striking distance.
But, after, getting to watch Chowning, he's the real deal. Like, I believe if he plays really well, the Mustangs they feed off of him.
Well, and if you look at the last game before that we talked about against Rich too, I can't remember his points, but it was somewhere around 8, so he's been held under his average in the last 2 games, and I don't know, but I would bet Rich did something similar to a face guard or something. But, I was impressed with Goodman. Goodman is strong inside.
Yes, he is.
He's just he's a bully down there. You're not going to just push him out of the way.
No.
He's a solid player in there. I was impressed with Hughes. Hughes is also very quick with the ball. Him and Chowning, both great ball handlers. Bear took quite a few threes, didn't get any of them to go, and we saw against Rich he had 3. So he had an off night from behind the line as far as the 3 goes. But, in Bambro he only hit the 1. But one thing that I was impressed with Manila is the ball movement.
Oh, yeah.
It was every possession down the floor, the ball was swinging from one side to the other. They were patient, waiting, letting their offense play out, trying to wear the defense down a little bit. And, Manila's a good team. They're going to make some noise at state, and I'm sure they're hyped up and ready to go. I don't know. I was going to look. I don't remember who they're going to possibly end up going against.
But, But like going back to Chowning too, even though he's being face guarded, I hope it's not getting him down. But it seems like when you're getting face guarded, if you can learn how to slow your body down really slow and then speed up, it helps you get open. So if he kind of maybe figures that out, if he kind of just slows down and lets the game maybe come to him where he can get open off of some screens, and like I said, that's a secret when you're getting face guarded.
Yeah.
You have to slow your game down. If you think you're playing slow, you need to play slower and then speed up even faster. So if he figures that out, I think he's going to be getting open more and definitely putting the points up when he goes to the state tournament.
Agreed. So. And going off of what Max Prep says, if it stays this way, it looks like they're probably going to have Whitehorse at home, so for their game next Friday.
So that is all I have on the boys, and I know I didn't cover every single game, but a lot of good basketball this week. So
Let's do this real quick while we're on the boys. And some of these you did mention. I don't know if we mentioned them all, so I just want to go over them real quick of my top performers while we're on the boys here. I know we talked about this one. I didn't write down what game it was against, though. I usually do that. Anyway, it was Verga from Panguitch. I should have wrote the game down. He had 19 points, 11 rebounds, and 8 blocks. So he was only 2 blocks shy of a triple-double. Jackson caught him, which we did talk about this, against Water Canyon with the 27 points, 6 rebounds. Hunter Robbins, we talked about this one, 21 points, 13 rebounds against Panguitch. The Blake Peterson against Panguitch, he had the 14 points, 8 rebounds, 8 assists, and 5 steals, which I know we talked about that one too. And then I think we mentioned this one, Inglestead. We did talk about him, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he was my other top performer with the 15 points, 12 rebounds. So that was my top 5 top performers for the boys of the past week. So now we can roll into the girls.
So the first game I got pulled up on the girls' end was Paiute and Milford. Paiute ended up beating Milford 57-54. King, like I said, she's just been playing just unbelievable. 27 points for her with 3 3-pointers. Randall had 9. Westwood with 7. Randall had 6. Talbot with 5. Morgan with 2. And Kay King with 1. But yeah, King just... I want to watch her play so bad at the state tournament because, like I said, she's up there just with about all the other top girls that we've been talking to. But yeah, a really good game for her. But then on the other side, McMullen, 32 points for her with only 1 3-pointer.
Well, Max Prep they missed that one big time somewhere. I show she had 22, so that's pretty cool. 32.
Oh well, Des News has her at 32 points. Dalton had 12 in that game. Pechtel had 7. Wilden with 5. Sedillo with 3. And Beebe with 3. So, like I said, a good win for Paiute.
And I think I put this in one of my top performances, but Dalton with her 12 points, she also had 13 rebounds.
Yeah.
So she did very well on the rebounding end of the floor, too. Game.
The next game I have pulled up here is Valley and Escalante. Valley ended up winning that game 49-45. Escalante, on the Escalante side, Gardner had 13, Fry had 13, Jenkins had 8, Holcomb had 8, and Carlisle had 3. On Valley's end, Cox had 16 with 4 3-pointers. Roundy had 11 with 3 3-pointers. Anderson had 11 with a 3. And then Jennings had 5, Croft 3, Bringeroff with 2, and Franklin with 1. The next game I had pulled up, and I just wanted to bring this one up, but Green River, been struggling on their girls' end, but they finally got them a win against Pinnacle, 41-37. I don't have no stats on that.
I have Green Rivers.
But I just wanted to say, it's good to see Green River get them a win. And I guess I forgot to say, it was good to see Dugway get a win, too.
Yeah, Dugway's boys.
On the boys' end, because they've had a tough year as well, so...
Well, if you want, like I said, I've got Green River's girls stat. It's only points. They didn't put anything else on. But Maddie Meadows had 12. Q Quintana had 10. Haley Nilsson with 8. I think it's Braley. Braley Parsons and Gracie Burnett both had 4. And then Nora Barragan, she had 3. So, but yeah, I mean, I agree with you. It's, for Green River, having not won a game up to this point, I mean, that makes for a long season,
Yes.
And we know they had the tragedy they dealt with at the first of the season, and that's hard on things too. So it's good to see him to just keep playing, keep trying to compete, and finally get that win, before the season comes to an end.
The next game I have pulled up is Bryce Valley and Milford got that win 61-44. I didn't have any stats on that game as well, unless they're on your end.
Yeah, so I've got Milford. I don't have anything for Bryce Valley. There's nothing on here for that. But for Milford, Acacia Dalton had 21 points. She had 10 offensive rebounds and a total of 18 rebounds. 4 steals. Jaden McMullen, she had 23 points, 7 rebounds, 3 assists, a couple of steals. And then after that, it was kind of, they were the bulk of the scoring. Pechtel had 8 with 3 rebounds. Miley, I think, Wilden, sorry, there's something on my screen there. She had 4 with 3 rebounds. Alicia Cedillo, I believe that's how you say that. She had 4 points and 3 rebounds. Kay Williams had 1 point and 1 rebound, and it looks like that was all the scoring for them. Another good game from Acacia Dalton, the 21 points with the 18 rebounds, and I think that 10 offensive rebounds is pretty impressive, and I wish there was a second chance point column on here because I'd like to know how many of them she was able to put back up and score.
Right. But yeah, a good win for Milford in that one for sure. The next game I have was a really good one, Paiute and Wayne. Wayne ended up winning that one 51-46. And looking at this game, I'm sure you have her in your top performers.
I do.
Van Dyke, 30 points for her with 4 3-pointers. I don't have the rebounds.
She had 5 rebounds.
Des News does not like rebounds, so. But then Wood came in with 10 points. Peterson had 4, Morrill with 3, Torgerson with 2, and Snedeker with 2. And then on the other side, Wayne must have done a good job on King because she only had 12. Randall had 15. The other K King had 11. B Randall had 6, and Talbot had 2 in that game. So yeah, a good win for Wayne over Paiute. The next game I have pulled up here is Monument Valley and Whitehorse. Whitehorse ended up getting them 72-61. We've talked about this player a lot this season. Martin came in with 33 points, 4 3-pointers. Just like I said,
she shot 4 for 9, so 44% from the 3. You'll take that.
Oh yeah, and she's going to be one I hope we get to watch her at the state tournament as well because she must just be just unbelievable.
Well, you better not hope too much because that may be who we play here at our girls.
Well, if she plays here, I hope we see her.
I guess you get to watch her play here, yeah.
But I just like to try and watch their games.
I don't know how you can watch them. I haven't been able to find them.
But for her to be just so consistent and being the number 1 on the girls' side in points, so
which I think she has been all year, right?
She has
the most of it.
But anyways, yeah, 33 points for her. Chi had 12, Clark had 11, Begay with 8, Kay Chi had 6, and Yellowman with 2. On Monument Valley's side, Black Mountain had 15 with 2 3-pointers. Cly had 13. Atene had 10. Hunt with 9. Cly with 8. White with 4. And Stanley with 2. So
I'll tell you what, I don't like the inconsistencies of the stats between the 2 websites here.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
they're getting mixed up.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm showing different points for a couple of those girls.
We're not professionals, and maybe Des News and them ain't either. So
and maybe so.
The next game I pulled up was Milford and Escalante. Milford ended up winning that one 61-55. Fry had a really good game in that one, 21 points with 4 3-pointers. Holcomb had 9, Gardner with 8, Carlisle with 7, McDonald with 5, Jenkins with 3, and Orvin with 2. On Milford's side, McMullen again 22 points with a 3. Dalton had 18, Sedella with 12, Pechtel with 7, and Wilden with 2. So, and yeah, we did confirm that last name is Fry.
Yes, thanks to
Whitley and her parents.
Yeah, I'm blanking on her parents' names.
But anyways, so we did confirm that, but I hope she understands she is a good ball player, and we can't wait for the years to come to watch her because I think she's only going to get better.
Gosh, that's going to bug me, Dowie. Chase will let me know. It's Taylor, but I can't think of their first names. I'm blanking. I wanted to mention real quick, Dalton, another big game on the rebounds, 12 rebounds.
Yeah.
So she's getting 10 or more rebounds in a lot of these games, you know. So
Right.
whoever faces Milford, you better have somewhere in your game plan to box her out. And, you know, I mean, some of these are offense, some of them are defense, but still, she has definitely got a nose for the ball when it comes to rebounding.
Right. The next game I have here is Paiute and Valley. Paiute beat Valley 35-28. In that game, Frost for the Buffaloes had 9 with 1 3-pointer. Cox had 7, Jennings had 6, and Anderson had 6. For Paiute, B. Randall had 13. Number 2, B. Randall had 8. K. King, number 10, had 6. And then K. King, number 24, had 6. And Talbot had 2. So
some of the girls that score on both teams were a little bit.
Yeah.
Cox and Anderson kind of held back on their scoring end,
And same
King.
for the King, yeah, for sure. But yeah, a good win for Paiute over Valley.
But you know, this is part of their region tournament as well, and with a low score like that, tells me there was probably some pretty good defense played all game.
Oh, yeah. The next game I have pulled up here, Altamont and Tinnick. So this was a game that was a good one. It went into double overtime. The Longhorns ended up getting them 43-40. Looking at the stats, Terry had 12. Underwood had 9, Gout had 5, Farr had 5, Condor with 4, Steinfeld had 3, Despain had 2. On Altamont's side, Miles had 15, Bywater had 11, Farr with 10, Layton with 4, and Thacker with 3. But like I said, looking there, for Tinnick, Snell must have had something with volleyball
That's what I was
show
going to
up.
say. You don't see her there.
Because I know when she's playing with the minors, you know, they're kind of a whole different squad, which they would be because Snell is a really tall player.
Well, and you know, for Altamont Farr, she also had 11 rebounds to go with her 10 points, so, you know, a double-double there. Ada Miles had 6 rebounds. She had 3 steals, 2 assists. Thacker had 8 rebounds and 6 steals. So pretty good game overall for Altamont, and a good win for them too, you know, to go, same as the boys, to go to Tinnick and get a win.
Yeah.
Altamont's been struggling a little bit too this year on the girls' end, so good for them to pick one up.
The next game I have pulled up here is the Rich Rebels beat the Manila Mustangs 71-56. Looking at them, you know, Castle Wall, just another awesome game for her. 28 points with 2 3-pointers. Potter had 11 with 3 3-pointers. Browning had 8. Gibson with 2 and Davis with 2. On Rich's end, Molly Weston 21 points with 3 3-pointers. McKinnon had 15. Morse had 10. Pugmire had 9. Smith had 8. Wooden had 5. White with 4. Scott with 2. And Lundgren with 2. So,
I'm just going to throw this out, guys. If you're listening to this and you're saying they didn't have that many points, again, I'm off here. So we're just going off of what's here. So, but I do want to point out that Braylon Pugmire had 15 rebounds in that game. 4 assists, 3 steals. So she had a great game rebounding. Paige Smith had 7 rebounds with 4 assists. Molly Weston had 6 rebounds with 3 assists and 5 steals. So pretty good game for the Rebels across the stat sheet.
and then the next game I have pulled up is the Region 20 championship game between Wayne and Panguitch. Panguitch ended up getting that win 53-42. On the stats for Panguitch, Albrecht had 19 in that game. So, you know, we're used to seeing Miller and
what do you show that Miller scored?
You know what? This might be mixed up because she's not even on here. With
See, and
points.
I show on Max Preps that Tate Miller had 19
Well,
points.
they must have got that mixed up on Des News. Must be messed up this week, maybe.
Yeah, because I show that Tate Miller had 19 points and 11 rebounds. And who did you say they had 19?
Albrecht.
Yeah, I don't even see her on this one.
So
one of them is
and
wrong.
I already know that's wrong because I watched the game and I watched Miller make plenty of baskets. So that just looking at that, I'm already confused. I guess I should have paid more attention.
Well, it's not you. I mean, your Des is showing one, Max is showing the other. So that's where. Hey, We're just doing what we can do.
Maybe you go. You you say the stats for this game.
Well, I show that McKenna Owens had 6 with a couple of threes. Torgerson had 8. Where did my screen go for the? Oh, here we go. Hatch had 7 with 5 rebounds. Torgerson, with her 8 points, had 15 rebounds, 2 assists, 5 steals, 2 blocks. That's a heck of a game for her. Annie Yardley had 9 points with a couple of rebounds, 3 assists.
Yeah, and they got Tebbs with 9 rebounds or 9 points.
Yeah, I
Is
don't
Tebbs
know.
in there with 9 points?
I don't even show Tebbs
well,
on
they
here.
they're definitely mixed up. Let's see.
Do you have Wayne's, or do you want me to do it on here?
I have Wayne's, but I show that Van Dyke had 14 points in that game.
That's what I show with 7 rebounds.
Morrill had 9 points in that game.
See, I show her, 7 is what they show.
Wood had 8 points in that game. Brinkerhoff had 4. Torgerson with 2. Peterson with 2. Erickson with 2. And Kay Peterson with 1.
So on my end, I show that Snediger had 4 instead of Brinkerhoff. So one of those two had 4 points.
Well...
Sorry, guys.
And maybe whoever was doing the stats, they were just so into the game that they didn't.
And I mean, it could have been a fat finger just hit the wrong one and put it in. Who knows?
But anyway, I did watch that game, and you want to talk about Penguins just holding Van Dyke down. I don't think she even scored that first half.
That's what someone else told me too.
It seemed like it was, like I said, it was definitely really slow. But I felt like Morrill and Wood they done really good on the defensive end, getting in passing lanes and different things. But yeah, they just, the Badgers fell short, even though I think they were kind of favored to win that. But like I said, when you show up to a tournament, anything can happen. The one thing that really does confuse me, and I know but for Penguins to have that home court advantage for the region tournament, I mean, I'm just saying, I just feel like if you're going to have a tournament, it should be somewhere else. But obviously, it costs money and different things to get gyms. And, I mean, I know it's way out of, but I just feel like them having that home court advantage, man, it definitely helps on the boys and girls.
And that's not, for anybody from Penguins that might be listening, we're not saying anything bad towards you or that's the only reason you won. We're just saying it was kind of caught us off guard that's where it was held. But that's neither here nor there. So,
but you still can't take nothing away from Penguins. They played freaking awesome. Yeah, their boys and their girls just played outstanding and proved that they are going to be a tough matchup.
And this, if any of you guys from Wayne or Penguins, because this one had a lot more mix-ups on the stats than some of the other ones. So if we did get those wrong and there's something that needs corrected, let us know. You can either email us, the GD1A Sports Podcast at Gmail, or I know one person in Wayne has my number. So if you feel like you want to correct us, we have nothing wrong with that or no problem with that. Let us know, because this one was pretty off.
Yeah. So the next game I have pulled up here is Tabiona and Manila. Tabiona ended up getting them 58-40. In that game, Bella Gines, she had 12 points with 2 3-pointers. Allred came in with 10 points with a 3-pointer. Fabrizio had 9. Hagman had 8. Joy Gines had 8. Kay Pippi had 6, which is
what number?
32. So KP. And then Chloe Pippi had 5 in that game. On the Manila side, Wall had 14 with a 3. Browning had 10. Pendleton had 8. And Potter with 4. And Davis 4. And Wall, I felt like the Tigers done extremely well on her. I felt like they definitely put on the pressure. But then, I noticed after the game that, they're really good friends with Wall, I feel like, a lot of the Tigers. So to see them, still just, like, even though they might be good friends with her, they still just said, you're not going to score 30 points, against us.
Well, and you could see, this is my opinion, my perspective from watching the game. they had her frustrated early on.
Yeah.
Being face guarded, you could kind of tell, her body language, the way she was moving around the floor. To me, it looked like she was frustrated, and it takes, when a player gets frustrated like that, it takes them out of their element, and they're just not playing their normal style of game. So, not just because it's Tabiona, but good credit to them for following that game plan of shutting her down, because in my opinion it completely worked, because she just didn't seem to be herself.
Yeah.
From what I could see.
And you could tell she's a heck of a player. And that was one thing I really liked watching her, is even though she was getting that much pressure put on her, she didn't give up 1 ounce. She was giving it all she had
till the very end of the game.
To the very end, yes.
And I wanted to point something out here too, because on the Tigers' end, KP with the 6 points, she is usually only around 1 or 2 points, doesn't score a whole lot. She did do pretty good on the rebounds, but to have little boosts like that, and then you have Talia with 10. I don't know what she averages, but I feel like it's been a while since we've seen her with 10 points. So I think it's really cool for them as a team to have a couple of players step up a little and get you a few more points, to where, maybe, because Joy only had 1 3, Bella had 2, and the Talia the 1. So I felt like the girls played really good that night. Chase and I were talking about it when we were broadcasting the game, and I think Coach Fabrizio, my opinion, was probably pretty happy with how they played, because they, as a team, they played really good. Jazzy came in off the bench playing her final regular season game. She didn't score, but she had a good presence in there on defense, and she just worked while she was in there. Adri going to the rebounds like normal, getting her 9 points. Adri, I'll tell you, she is a fun player to watch. She's not very tall. She's usually one of the shorter girls out there, but man, she works like she's 7 feet tall.
Yeah.
She's a good ball player. And I thought that, Browning from Manila, she only had the 10 points. Again, I don't know what she averages either, but she just didn't seem to me like she was playing like her normal game. Maybe
Right.
some frustration there, or maybe it could have been something to where we've talked in the past, Wall being frustrated, and it kind of, your team feeds off of your, I don't want to say energy, because she still had energy, but you know what I'm trying to say. They kind of feed off of her game a little bit.
Yeah.
And I think maybe with her, being held to 14, which is still a pretty good game, 14 points,
Heck
but
yeah.
she's averaging like 22, I believe it is, 22 and a half. But,
Yeah.
but that was a good, fun game to watch, right down to the end. They, like I said, they did get them by 18, but it was still, I guess maybe what I'm trying to say is the score doesn't really show what the game was.
Yeah.
Because I feel like it was a pretty good game. So.
Yeah. But with that, that's all the games I have pulled up, and so
Let's go see if I have any of the girls' top performers we didn't already talk about. We talked about Acacia Dalton. Cora Gardner, did we talk about her?
I don't think so.
Escalante against Water Canyon. She had 15 points. She had 11 offensive rebounds for a total of 18 rebounds in that game.
wow.
Van Dyke, we talked about her. Martin, we talked about her. And Tate Miller, we did talk about her with the 10 offensive rebounds in that game against Wayne.
Yeah.
And same thing, I wish I knew how many of those offensive rebounds she was able to score, or maybe not her, but get it back out and score, second chance points. But
Well, and I know she got a lot of offensive rebounds off of Owen shooting the ball. Owen's shot a lot of threes, couldn't get very many to go in, but she was definitely fire. And
hey,
so,
maybe they planned that. Maybe she says, I'll throw it up there and you go get it.
yeah, I mean, a good game plan if Miller can
Right.
get them. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, with that, that's all I have. We have on the girls' end. We did have the two Bella and Joy share their memory on the hardwood, but we have one from Coach Giles to continue his from last week, where he talked about back in '87, I believe it was, when the Tigers beat Duchesne in the region tournament. But now let's hear what we have to say when the Tigers went on
To the state tournament.
to the state tournament. Yeah.
So he says, in 1987, after winning the Northern Division, we went to the region tournament in Price. We won our region. We're gonna read it anyway. in Price, Utah. We won our first 2 games, setting up a game with Duchesne, the 4th time in the region championship. Against Duchesne for the 4th time, and this time being the region championship. It had been 16 years since Tabiona had won a region tournament or went to the state tournament. This was a big moment for Tabiona basketball. As the game began, it was another nail biter, several lead changes. Both crowds were cheering for their team. Most of the other schools who were there were cheering for the Tigers. At the end of regulation, the score was still tied. Mind you, this was the first year that the 3-point shot was implemented in high school basketball. Late in overtime, we had the ball. We were up 2 with just under a minute to go, and Ryan Jones hit a big 3-pointer, putting us up 5. The Tigers closed out the game, and again the crowd stormed the court. And, so wait a minute, this was still... No, we got ahead of ourselves.
We did?
Yeah, so his memory last week was going to go... He told us last week to find out what happens at the region tournament.
Oh.
I was thinking it like you going to the state. So this game he is talking about, this was the region tournament. So let's see. The crowd stormed the court, and the Tigers were going to the state tournament in Cedar City for the first time in 16 years, and we had a region tournament trophy. Got to cut down the nets. It was a fun night. The fire truck brought us into town. An exciting time for Tabiona basketball. Now, next week, I'll tell you what happened at the state tournament.
Oh, okay.
We'll see, because...
So who was the Tigers playing in this game?
Duchesne.
Oh, Duchesne again?
For the 4th time, he said.
Oh, for the 4th time.
Yep. For the 4th time, and this time it was for the region championship. So I believe last week when he told us about that, let's see, finishing the regular season. Oh, so the one he told us last week, they were tied with Duchesne, so that was like a playoff game in Altamont against Duchesne, probably to set up the region tournament.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, Coach, we're trying to keep track here. Like we say, it's a good thing we're not professionals. But, yeah, Coach, we appreciate you sending the memory in.
We can't wait to know what happens in the state
tournament. Yeah, look
tournament.
forward to know, because 87, that's the year I was born, and I'm going to have to tease Ryan Jones, my neighbor here, a little bit, the one that hit that 3 he's talking about to him. I didn't realize he was as old as he is, but
yeah, and then I was talking to Coach. I think last year I messed up on thing, but he's top 3 in wins, and if he gets I believe it was like 34 more wins, he will take the top spot for most wins with the same school. And then for him to take over the all-time, he would need, I think he would need another like 98 wins.
Which is George Bruce still the...
Yeah, so he has 698 wins, I believe.
And I think his came from, I know for sure, at least 2 different schools, maybe 3.
I think it was 2. I believe it was Judge Memorial.
Because he was at Dugway for a long time and then left, and then I think you're right, came back to Dugway.
Yeah, I'm not...
I looked at it one day, but I can't remember. It was either 2 or 3 schools, but still.
But anyways, Coach, so if you keep going, I believe it's like 34 more wins to take that number 1 spot with the same school, and you got about 90, I think it's 98 more wins to take the all-time. So I hope he's up for it.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's 4 more years of, well, I guess a little more than 4 of 20-win seasons.
I was telling him, I said, well, if you wouldn't have quit coaching, you would have had that maybe 10 years ago.
Because he left my senior year, him and Coach Strebel left, and then he came back, 2 or 3 years later? Or 5 years maybe? Something. Anyway, he was gone for a few years.
I know he came back as head coach when I was a junior, and that was in 2014.
2014, and I graduated. Also, it was longer than I thought, because I graduated in 05.
Because I know I think he still helped with the boys, and then he jumped over to the girls there for a bit.
That's right.
So I mean, he was still coaching.
Yeah.
He just wasn't the head guy anymore.
Right.
But anyways, so yeah, Coach, keep on coaching, and we'll.
So there is one thing that we need to mention that I didn't know and you brought up to me, and I'm glad you did.
Oh, yeah.
For these upcoming games this next week, which is technically the first day of the state tournament that will be played at the higher seed team's home court, the ticketing will be a little bit different for that.
From what I was told, yes.
Yes, from what we were told. So
You can go on.
I'm going to put this out there because if it is right, I want to make sure everybody knows because I had no idea. If it's different, then I apologize, but I at least want to get it here to make sure. So you can go to GoFan. Is that .co?
I believe so.
I'm just going to click on it and make sure. Yeah, so it's gofan.co, not com, just .co. Apparently this is where you can go
buy your tickets
to get your
into the
tickets.
game.
See, right now it says there's no upcoming school events. Check back soon. So they maybe just haven't got it on here yet, but I would check maybe around Tuesday, Wednesday.
I mean, from what I understand, it's because these first round games are considered part of the state tournament. So I would assume the like paying the refs and stuff doesn't come out of your own basketball fund is how I understand, but I hope I'm right.
But either way, this is what we're being told is this is how you get your tickets to attend these games, even if it's in your hometown.
Yeah.
If there's anybody out there listening to this, maybe Coach Parsons knows. Maybe he knows a little bit more about this. We could get with Coach Giles, but if somebody is listening to this and you can either verify this or correct us, please do so, because we want to make sure everybody has the information ahead of time so they know what they're, so they're not blindsided when they try to go to this game and don't have the tickets or whatever it may be. So,
and maybe they'll have something set up at the games to get in. It might be easy, but,
maybe
I don't know. I just thought it'd be good to mention that they want you to go to that website to pay for your tickets. So.
Okay, well, I think that's all I've got for this week.
Yeah, a lot that we went over, and like I said, basketball's coming to an end. It's kind of bittersweet, but all good things must come to an end, and I'm excited for the state tournament. I'm excited for the 2A tournament and the 1A tournament.
Yeah, you've got some ties to the 2A with your sister-in-law, so yeah, that'll be
fun too. I want to shout out Kira Grant on the Duchesne Eagles because she might be my sister-in-law, but she's honestly probably one of the best girls players that I've watched in the 1A, 2A division in a long time. So I just want to say congratulations, Kira, because I think she led 2A with 22 plus points a game. So yeah, I just want to say congratulations to her, and I can't wait to watch the Duchesne Eagles play in their state tournament as well.
So we'll have a show next week. Won't be quite as many games to cover, but we'll still do a show. And as of right now, the plan is for the state tournament, it'll have to be after the games at a different location, but we're planning on, or I guess we'll see what your schedule does. If you can't be there, maybe I'll just jump on for a minute by myself or something, but we're going to just kind of try to do a little recap of the games from each night, so that people that maybe can't make it but they're curious, we'll just kind of do a little bit of insight on what happened in those games and go from there. So stick with us for a couple more weeks, and who knows, maybe we'll come up with something to go for a little bit after the season. We kind of talked about maybe talking with some other players even after the season's done, just if they want, get their side of things, their opinion, stuff like that. So we'll see, but for sure at least for 2 more weeks we'll be going. So stick with us from there. If you guys have any memories you want to send in, again, the email is the GD1A Sports Podcast at gmail.com. Feel free to send those in, or if you have our numbers, you can text them to us either way. So I guess with that being said, we'll wrap it up. And
we'll see you next week.
We'll be back. Thank you, guys.